because of their wealth, they used to spend in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they get reward from Allah. But we don't have sufficient money to spend in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so we cannot compete them. Rasulullah said, okay, I give you some azkar, some zikr. You remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with that azkar, and you will get equal reward of spending in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then they started, when the rich people, they knew that they have been given some easy way to get the reward from Allah, so they started, besides spending in the way of Allah, they started making zikr. Again they approached Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said, Ya Rasulullah, what we were doing, the rich people also started the same. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, it is from Allah, so they will get the reward and you will also get the reward, but Allah will give you the reward according to your intention. So this hadith shows the wealth was spent to get the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the concept. The third thing, the verse that I have mentioned in the beginning, I have recited, that is the verse of Surah Al-Hashr. And that verse is very important verse in the economic field of Islam. Islam says there are three parts of verse. The first, وَمَا أَفَاءَ اللَّهُ عَلَى رَسُولِهِ مِنْ أَهْلِ الْقُرَى فَلِلَّهِ وَلِلرَّسُولِ وَلِذِي الْقُرْبَى. The first and the most important thing, this is the time of war, battles between Muslim and non-Muslims. And the Muslims got the victory and they received some resources, some money, some things from the enemies. So as they got, that is called mal ghanima. And other kind of mal is, the wealth is wafa and fai, mal fai. Mal fai is the wealth that is taken from the enemy without battle, without fighting. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, what Allah has given you, the wealth from the enemy without fighting, no one should think it belongs to him, but it is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Prophet. وَلِذِي الْقُرْبَى, for the relative, وَالْيَتَامَى, for orphans, وَالْمَسَاكِينَ, for the poor. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made the shares as He has mentioned in Surah Anfal. وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّمَا غَنِمْتُم مِّن شَيْءٍ فَأَنَّ لِلَّهِ خُمُسَهُ وَلِلرَّسُولِ وَلِذِي الْقُرْبَى وَالْيَتَامَى وَالْمَسَاكِينِ وَابْنِ السَّبِيلِ. وَالْيَتَامَى وَالْمَسَاكِينِ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned these categories where the wealth can be spent, must be spent, and it should not be in one hand. Then Allah has given the reason, كَيْ لَا يَكُونَ دُولَةً بَيْنَ الْأَغْنِيَاءِ مِنْكُمْ. This is an important lesson and rules in the field of economy, so that the wealth should not circulate among the rich people, as we have seen in many capitalist countries. The wealth are circulating in few hands, and the rich are going to be richer, and the poor, they are going to poorer. So Islam has not given the economic system, and Islam has not supported this system. So Islam has given the concept of the economic system in a balance. If you compare capitalism and socialism, Islam is in between. Islam, another way you can say, if you want to compare Islam, you have to understand the religion and the culture and the economic system that was prevailing in the time of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and before Muhammad. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam when came, that time this was the system. The few selected people, they had the money, and the money was circulating among these people. That is why riba, interest, was a common among that among those people in that society. And another aspect, you see, if a man dies and he has lot of wealth, the wealth was not distributed in his relative. Only the elder son had the right to utilize, to take the wealth on some portion for other sons, but not for women, not for mother, not for wife, not for daughters. It was for men. So Islam, in initial stage, Islam has given the commandment, if someone is going to die, he is a sin, and the death is approaching, that he should give wasiyah to his relative, that my wealth should be distributed to my all relatives. But again, the next stage, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed few verses of Quran Kareem in Surah An-Nisa, in which Allah has made the shares for everyone. If a man dies, who can get the shares from his wealth? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given detail, and this is also one of the miracle of the Quran. In a short, in a few 6 verses, 6 to 7 verses, Allah has given, you can say, system of inheritance. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, if a man or woman dies, and if they have some wealth, so mother deserves to receive, father deserves to receive. If a woman, husband deserves from his wife, and all the children deserve to receive. And the same, if a man dies, the wife deserves, the mother, the father, and if someone has no children, the brothers and sisters, they will receive. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made the share for everyone. So it was the indication, the wealth should be spent. Wealth should not be collected, and it should not be retained. It should be spent. So that is why Islam always emphasized on spending the money. Even there are two kinds of things, two kinds of right. One right related to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He has said to pray, you have to pray. This is the right of Allah. He has said to observe the fasting, you have to observe the fasting. It is the right of Allah. He has said to go for Hajj, pilgrimage, so you have to go. It is the right of Allah. But if you could not pay the right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so what is the remedy? What you can do for that? Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says you have to spend some money to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like if one person cannot observe the fasting due to his sickness or old age, then he has to pay some amount, or he has to arrange the food for the poor, then he is like observing the fasting. So this was the indication. If this is the time of slavery, and Islam has said everyone that if you have taken, if you have mistaken, if you have committed some sin, so you have